My name's Eli Delaney, and I have the honor of meeting some pretty cool people. These are the entrepreneurs, the artists, the creatives, the game changers that are making a positive impact in the people that they meet. And I'm a firm believer that the people that you meet can get you anywhere you want to go. And this show is my way of sharing them with you. It's my way of also helping you meet cool people. All right, we are back. Eli here with Meet Cool People, and today I got an awesome guest to share with you guys today. So, Gwen Lepard has been a client of mine for over a year. I don't even know the exact time. I meant to look that up and I didn't get a chance to, but we have gotten to know each other very well and had some amazing stuff going on. She's just doing some amazing work. So of course I wanted to bring her out to share her with you. So let me give you a little bit of background on her. She is a dancer. She's an author. She's a speaker. She's a mentor. She's doing all kinds of fun stuff. But her big thing is as a purpose coach. She inspires creative entrepreneurs, writers, and coaches who struggle with getting important work done to combine purposeful, focused actions with movement to accomplish those tasks effectively while practicing self-care through her Get It Done Labs, which is an awesome thing that she has been doing. And with that, I'm going to bring her in here. Gwen, it is awesome to have you here today.
Thank you, Eli. It's almost been 2 years.
Next month. It's been 2 years. I was thinking we were getting there. I was just like, wow, yes.
I know.
But you have evolved so much since then, and you've gotten so much done. And I love the stuff you're doing now, which is kind of some of the stuff we want to talk about today is your Get It Done Labs, because I've seen you progress through multiple iterations of what you're doing with your company. And this stuff, and I always say this stuff when I see these things, because they're the things that light you up. It's like, this is her thing. This is the thing. This is the magic right here. And so what I'd like you to do, go ahead and start and just tell us a little bit more, everybody listening, a little bit more about you, how you got started in business and what kind of fun stuff you're working on.
Oh my gosh, where do I start? just throw all of that on my plate, will you, Eli? So how did I get started in business? I got started in business when, after years of verbally whipping me, my former husband did it for real. And I fled my Montana home and I started studying things to make me better. NLP and life coaching and EFT and all of these different modalities, energy healing. And that led to, okay, well, I took all of that stuff so that I could help others because I could get certified because I wouldn't do it for myself. So here I have these certifications. So of course I need to have clients so that I can pay back what I've spent. And what lights me up is helping others do good things. So that's where it started, is being in business with a narcissistic control freak rageaholic who didn't want me to ever have a job, because that was the worst possible thing that could happen to me. So as I fled my Montana home on July 31st, 2009, that's how I began my journey back to myself. And that was through studying many things that I could help others with. And in the long run, it helped me. Does that answer your question, Eli?
It does. And, it's hard to say that, you had to go through a bunch of really bad crap to get there, but you've learned so much and you've been able to help so many people since then. So I'm glad to see that you got over that piece and you're moving forward with everything you're doing. And it's cool because like the stuff that we're sharing with other people, a lot of times we don't take our own advice as much as we should. And so, it's like, oh, this is great for me to help everybody else, but oh yeah, I should probably do some of that stuff myself. And I know that from some of my own personal experience as well. So we've all been down that route before. So tell us a little bit more about, like, right now you've recently launched the Get It Done Labs program. And what I'd like you to do is tell a little bit about what that is. Where did that come from? Because I know you've got kind of a cool story of what that is. And, I want to set the stage for this because you and I've talked through a lot of this stuff. And of course, I am not your perfect client for it because I'm the guy who does like to do everything by himself when he's working. It's like, leave me alone. Don't talk to me. Give me some techno music and a mocha and I'm good to go. But so many people, and I didn't realize how many people really thought the way that you do and the way your clients are, as far as they get they can get more work done and get more energy in getting that done in a group format versus an individual format. So tell us a little bit about how you came to that enlightenment, I guess is a good word for it.
Enlightenment. Yes. Oh, Eli, thanks so much for already explaining it so well. The genesis of the Get It Done Labs was when I was working with the Wellness Leadership Academy. I was doing this big master's program for healers and wellness leaders. And we're trying to come up with, what should they call me? They called me a luminary. I'm like, hey, that's really cool. And we would get these immersions together and we'd do a bunch of work and they'd give us all of these great tools like the freebie and all of that stuff that we were supposed to create, websites, all of the things, courses, and then off you go. There was no place for us to do it together. It's like, go do this by yourself now. And I just couldn't do it. So I created a Get It Done Lab and invited people from the group to come and join me and work on the things that we'd been instructed to work on, that the mentors had shared with us. And I used the Pomodoro technique so that we could have the focus and work times and break times. And we got so much done. I had one gal, there were people from all over the world, people in Australia. And one of the gals from Australia said, I just got more done in this hour and a half period, which was actually only an hour of actual work because we take 10-minute breaks every 20 minutes. And she said, I got more done in that 1 hour than I've gotten done in an entire week. And that just continued and continued. And others would say the same. And that was 2018. And there for a while, I wasn't doing that. I was busy doing other things, working with telesummits and all of that. And I had people that I was paying to work with me. And then recently, as I've been writing a book, I brought the Get It Done Labs back because I just, 2020 happened. I was doing really well. I was already online. I had this huge following globally from 2019 to 2021. And then at the end of 2021, and you've heard this, Eli, I all of a sudden couldn't walk straight. And maybe we'll want to pause here and then go into that story in a bit.
Definitely, we want to go into some of that, but I want to go back. One of the things I'd love for you to explain, because some people don't know what this is explain what Pomodoro is, because I don't think not everybody understands what that is. I'm familiar with it, but what is it?
Yeah, and it's actually Pomodoro, and I know I sometimes pronounce it.
I may have said it wrong, so don't blame yourself on that one. That's
no, I pronounced it both ways, but it was created by I can't pronounce his name, an Italian man who had this timer that was shaped like a tomato, and in Italian, tomato is a pomodoro.
Okay.
So he would set the timer for a specific amount of time and then a specific amount of rest time. And that's how he got through college, all these projects he needed to get done. And he tried different time segments to see what would work best for him. And I think that his was 25/5, but I have back challenges, and mostly from sitting too much. And they always tell you, get up every 20 minutes, move around, and take 10 minutes every 20 minutes. And same thing with your eyes. Every 20 minutes, we're staring at screens all day long. And
especially now. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's like, every 20 minutes, give yourself 20 seconds to look away 20 feet beyond you. So 20, to help moisturize your eyes, blink your eyes. So for eye health, for physical health, and it also breaks up an hour really nicely.
Right. Yeah.
where you have the 20-10, and also 5 minutes for a bio break for some people is just not a long enough period of time.
Right.
And yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And that's, so I've studied that, and for me, it was too short. Like when I'm one of these kind of people, this is how my entire day works, is I need more time to get into the groove. So like my mornings, there's a reason why I don't speak to humans before 10 o'clock in the morning, because I need to get into the groove of being able to speak to humans and be social and all that kind of stuff. And I find from the workflow, for me personally, it takes me longer to get started, but once I get started, I go deeper, longer, as far as my focus and be able to get things done. So like for me, my window is 50-10. So I'll work for 50 minutes and then I'll take a 10-minute break. And that is actually something I learned from Dean Jackson. He calls it the 15-minute focus finder, which is when I found that, because I tried Pomodoro myself and it just wasn't working for me. But so many people they're like, this is the most amazing thing ever. And I'm like, okay, may not work for me, but obviously it works. And so like I got my thing, but you've got so many people that have been going through. And when you started explaining that in your Get It Done labs, I was like, okay, that makes a lot more sense for people. And I love how you've put that into a place where people can ultra focus, because we know, when it comes to what is I don't remember the term for it, but basically time is in a vacuum. There's a term for that, where it doesn't matter how much time you have, whatever you give yourself is how long it's going to take.
Right.
And so when you put a group of people into that kind of scenario, it's like, okay, we're going to really focus for 20 minutes. And it's like, okay, I got 20 minutes. They're like, oh crap, I got to get this done. And they're going to dig into it. And it's amazing, that same thing. Like the guy was saying, it took her, a week. She wasn't getting hardly anything done, but in 1 hour she did. Yeah. So I love that. And I love how you're bringing people together with that. So yeah. So let's go deep a little bit more in like the experience that some of your clients have had with this is, when people have talked about the results that they've gotten, what are the things that they're coming up with, like that struggle point, or what are the things that they're saying before they come in and work with you? Like, okay, I just can't seem to get stuff done, or I can't seem to focus. Where are those kind of points that they're like, okay, I need some help?
The not being able to work alone. I mean,
okay.
It's, needing that accountability in order to focus. And one of the things I want to go back in that focus time, that 20 minutes where we're focused, that at the end of it, when the timer goes off, it's fingers off of the keyboard. Right. So if you're typing something and you stop mid-word, mid-sentence, it opens up your subconscious to go and find what's missing, what's next. So it gives you so much more than consciously you would have had if you worked for 15 minutes and then said, okay, I'm done. Now I can go on my 10-minute break. But 15 minutes is also really awesome. I'm glad that you found a way that works for you. Mm-hmm. And so back to the question that you had about, what people, are saying to themselves. It's like struggling with getting things started or finished. So both work equally well. For me, it was getting things started. Once I got started, I could usually go for pretty long, but then I would stand up and feel like a little old lady and realize that I could barely see and that I'd be exhausted. And so having those breaks, one, the accountability break, two, you get used to doing the 20-10, because at first I thought, we're always going, wow, that was fast. But I've gotten so much done. I mean, things I thought would take a couple of hours, that 20-minute period, I'm already done. And I've still got a couple of minutes here. So having the 20 minutes gives the accountability and it gets you started so that you can finish. Right. So whether having trouble, it's like, I can't even get started, and beating yourself up for procrastinating. I've done that a lot myself, where I know that I have to get this done and then wait until the last minute and then do an all-nighter. And then my health greatly is impacted. Right. So I know that I'm not the only one that's done that.
Yep.
So being able to just have somebody there. We were just talking about the power of two, that where there's two together, that a connection happens. Mm-hmm. And it's like electricity. When you go to flip a light switch, it would not come on if there weren't two leads coming into that switch. So it needs a connection point. And the labs are a connection point where two of us can come together, or more, many more, or fewer. It doesn't matter the size, but even just two people together create that connection so that you have the impetus to start. You have the impetus to complete. And then also having the structure, Rachel, who's another person that we both know, came to a lab and she said, I don't have problems working alone. I have problems stopping and doing the self-care. And she was amazed how much she got done and actually could codify how long different projects took her, where she had no idea because she'd worked 14, 16 hours, you know.
Right.
And have no idea how long the project actually took to get done, where it's like, oh, we just got that done in 20 minutes. Oh, it only takes me 15 minutes. Or, oh, it took me 2 20-minute segments, so it takes me 40 minutes to do this. Does that answer the question?
It does. And it opens up. Yeah, no, it actually opens up several different talking points here. One of them was, don't let me forget. I want to come back to that the time constraint of like stopping, like Rachel's scenario. I want to talk about that, but I don't want to forget is the accountability side. And I think that that's one of the things that so many of us, when like I have the advantage, I've been an entrepreneur for 30 years. So I've worked for myself for ages and I am responsible for myself. So, I mean, and even today, it's still not always easy. I find that there are days where I'm working, 8, 10 hours and I don't even realize what I got done in that day because I was scattered. And so I see the value in this of number one, saying, okay, here's the project, here's the task, and here's the 20 minutes. Like it's very, very direct, which that in itself is very appealing for me. Like I know as much as there's certain people out there that are like, I hate to-do lists and to-do lists are awful. I'm like, for me, give me the to-do list because I know exactly what to do and I can check it off. But the accountability piece, I think, is really, really helpful for especially for people who've jumped into the entrepreneur world in these last few years, especially since COVID happened, where a lot of people went out on their own and they were used to working in a work environment where they had people checking in on them. This is like, okay, here's my task that I'm doing during this time. And you're saying it to everybody else, which means there is that accountability. Now, they're not going to yell at you and fire you at the end of the time. But when you say it, when you put it out there, that adds that level of accountability. And I love that because I think that is something that so many people do need. Some people that's why like co-working for me has never been something I do well, because I just want to socialize if I'm with other people, which means I don't get any actual work done. But if I'm by myself, I'm uber focused on this thing. But I find that there are more people that they love going to a co-working space, or they get people together and it's like, okay, we're going to dig into these projects. And it's the conversation that brings in that, okay, well, I just said it. I just told these people that I'm going to get this done. I should probably get my butt in gear there.
Yeah, the online co-working works better for me than in person. Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. I've noticed that. And partly when I worked co-working, there wasn't the structure. It's like you're just in a place, there's other people. But that is where the first time that I learned about the Pomodoro technique and was using it to write website copy and stuff like that, emails at that time, 2014. So so I've been using the Pomodoro for a long time, but created the Get It Done Labs in 2018. And I mentioned I wanted to come back to what happened at the end of 2021. For those that are going, what happened at the end of 2021? There's a few out there that go, yep, you didn't finish that thought. So I started having these episodes where I would walk off to the right. I'd get really kind of lightheaded and I couldn't focus and I couldn't walk straight. I would walk off to the right, all different kinds of tests, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. Finally, an energy healer friend of mine said, you are just expanding to contain more light. And I'm like, you're right. That's what this is. But it went on for from the end of 2021 until well into 2023. And after that, I've been struggling to get back to, what's my business going to be? What am I going to do? How can I work? And I could not work alone anymore. I mean, literally physically impossible for me to work alone anymore. So that's when I brought the Get It Done Labs back, because I knew somebody that was working on a book. I was working on a book, and I said, hey, let's do a Get It Done Lab. And she's like, that sounds cool. And we started meeting almost every morning, because we were just like so dedicated and inspired to get our projects done. And the socializing happens in those 10 minutes. And other than that, the 20 minutes we're getting things done. And so that's what actually inspired it. Is I wasn't well for a long time, and my brain doesn't work the same way anymore. I no longer could work alone. So having the Get It Done Labs, first created for myself, and then realized that so many people that would come in and like be able to work on a truly very challenging project of getting the things together for Court to be able to get her daughters back. One of the gals that has joined us, and you can see her she on the website. There's her testimonial, and being able to really like Rachel, be able to get to know how much she gets done in a specific amount of time. So a project that maybe she wasn't charging enough for, or maybe it's something that she could charge the same amount for and get done really quick. So she's actually benefiting because she now knows how long it takes her to get it done.
Right.
Just a few examples. Since we
I love that one. Yeah. And that, I'm glad you brought that back in there. And I want to talk about, like you were talking about, you were working with somebody else through your books and getting that done. I want to bring that back up in a minute, but like what you're talking about with Rachel, it's great because everybody who does services, especially when they're on that newer side, they under expect what it's going to take. You and I have been around for a while, so we know that basically whatever we think it's going to be, we tripled the time and triple the cost. It's just the way it's going to be, because that's how life works, right?
Especially I hate that about life, but yeah.
But I think that that's great, especially for somebody who is on that newer side. And not just specifically newer side, because there's some of us that have been around forever that still undervalue our time and you're like, oh, that won't take too long. And next thing you know, you're 3 hours into it and you thought it was going to take 20 minutes. Right. But, being able to put that tangible on it, I think is great for somebody to be able to say, okay, I think this is going to take an hour. It's like, okay, well, that's going to be 3 sessions. But then you get into it and you realize, oh, wait a minute. In this focus time, it only took me 1. Cool. Or sometimes you do realize, oh, wait a minute, I got to the bottom of my 3 and I still got a lot more work to do. Yeah, I definitely did not charge enough for that. And so I like the fact that you're putting the number on it. You're putting that constraint on it, because it helps those people that do get into that situation. And we've all been there before, where we think something is going to take, time is relative. We think something's going to only take a few minutes. Next thing you know, it takes forever. I do that with video editing. I'm like, this should only take me, 5 minutes to do. And next thing I know, it's been an hour. Right. And
audio, same thing. Not quite as bad.
Yeah.
Doesn't take quite as long with audio.
Not quite as long, but it's still long, which is why, to be perfectly honest, those are tasks that I just shouldn't be doing at all. But these are the kind of things that help us kind of figure that out. And, giving yourself that thing is like, even with me for a long time, I'll go through and I do set the timer and I watch where's my time going? Because when I do that, I'm like, oh, this took me way longer than I thought it was going to. And it helps, those kind of things like this help you realize what that time constraint really is, how much time you're investing in things, and what, from a billing standpoint, if you bill hourly or however you do it, then figure that out. And of course, if you think it's going to take an hour and you can knock it out in 20 minutes, cool. Take the rest of the time off, go have some fun.
Yes. Definitely.
Yeah, and I do love that. I really do. Now, I want to circle back a little bit because you talked about you and this other author going, that's what you did when you started the Get It Done Labs for yourself to get that done. Authors have been one of the groups that you've worked with, that you specialize in helping with this too. So let's kind of go down that. What kind of authors, like, is this for people that are doing their own book or compilation books, like writing a chapter in a book? Where, what
Absolutely.
kind of fleets are we looking at?
But both, absolutely.
Okay.
In fact, during that time when we first started with the other author, first started working on the book, I got uh, reached out to this
You can grab the book. It's okay.
this book. I got invited to be in part of this in this book, have a chapter in this book, 3,000 words. So I wish I could tell you exactly how long those 3,000 words took me, but it did take longer than I thought it would, and it probably, I think it was a week and a half of labs, and that was probably 3 or 4 labs a day, or not a day, 3 or 4 labs a week, and I think that we did one really long Saturday, a 4-hour Saturday lab, and it was from the beginning of the idea to the rough draft, to reading it out loud, to which you do muted and take your video off so you're not distracting the other worker, and then into asking a few questions because we were assisting each other with what we were doing as well, to the final project. And I wasn't paying attention to how long it would take me. I just knew that I had a very short period of time to get it done because she invited me, and then it was like, oh, this is needed by this date. And I think it was a couple of weeks, and I didn't get started right away. So yeah, about a week and a half, that just total focus on that chapter. And so, what was the question again? Oh, so you can use a chapter. You can write a chapter.
Yep.
Most chapters are not that many words typically. I mean, that's the 7th book that I've been in, and all the others had less words than that one. Okay. And the book that I'm still working on, but I have collaborators, and so I ask them 3 questions and they answer those, and then we edit it together. And then I'm also writing about each of the chakras. So they actually said, don't rush us. So knowing that timing is everything, and when you're dealing with the more woo or more energetic things, sometimes you just have to listen. And it was really hard because I was like, I'm going to get this done in 30 days. I'm going to be done end of this month. And then it was like, no, you're not. Absolutely not. Don't rush us. I mean, they were so clear. Basically, they gave me the holidays, my birthday, everything, and now they're going, hello, and I just finished a couple more chapters. But yeah, you can write an entire book, and who knows how long it's going to take. Right. I mean, there's the gal that I was working with. She was actually during. She would speak it, and then we'd take a break, and then she would transcribe it, and then we'd take a break, and then she would edit the transcription.
Right.
So, and that
can be really powerful.
Happen. That's how she was making her book happen. And for me, I tend to write more than talk. I haven't, and to this point with that book, I have not used any ChatGPT, though ChatGPT, because of Rachel, has now become one of my friends. And I know that you've interviewed Rachel too. So
yep. Rachel was on this show 2 or 3 episodes ago. But yeah, so, and that's one of the things I think is you just brought up something that's really great about like the way your process is happening with this in these 20-minute segments. Like the one gal you were talking about, she talked it through, then she looked at the transcription, then she edited that into her chapter. It's like, okay, take it in chunks with a breather in between. Like as a writer, when I write stuff, and a lot of times I'll write it and then I give it a day or two before I'll come back and then I do my real editing. Like I might do cleanup editing where Grammarly tells me I'm horrible at things and fix that stuff up first. But then even when I think I'm done, I have to let it sit for a day or two first. And so I think that that's really cool that you can break it into those chunks to make it more bite-sized. And as a writer myself, those kind of situations of having that, okay, this is a dedicated time to just focus on doing this thing, which is writing. I mean, I went to, when I wrote both of my books, everything that I wrote in there was literally sitting at a coffee shop. I went to a coffee shop. Now, what I did was in a coffee shop, once a month, I would schedule like 4 hours. And I would go in, I get my morning mocha, I get breakfast, I'd have that, I'd work for a few hours. Every 50 minutes, luckily it was a small coffee shop, they knew me, so I could get them to watch my stuff while I went outside and went for a 10-minute walk. And then I'd come back in, and then I would work and keep writing. And then like my last hour was going back, starting at the beginning and editing everything. And I got so much done in that process. And so this stuff is really powerful. Like you got to figure out what works for you, but this kind of process, and I like the way you do it. You do it in a process that is, okay, come here, let's bring your project, whatever that is. Like you had the other gal that was putting together all the legal stuff. It's like that stuff you don't want to do. You don't like doing it. It's kind of scary stuff. But if you have, okay, I got 20 minutes to do this research and put this stuff together, and this is the task, you're going to get it done.
Yeah.
And I love that.
It had a lot of emotional charge on it too. So she
sure.
really did not feel alone. She goes, I can feel the support.
Yeah.
And she really felt the quantum of it. She really felt that the physics of it worked for her to get it done. And oh God, where'd it go? There was a thread. I lost it. Shoot.
It's okay. It happens. It happens.
It's the container. That's what it was. Yeah. What you did with the 4-hour container and how it's the container that makes it work.
Yeah.
It's the container. And also I say, get your stuff done with fun, because in those 10-minute breaks, because I'm a dancer and because I have physical challenges when I sit too long,
right?
I'm up and I do a little meditation in gratitude of what's already been done, and thanking the subconscious for showing up and bringing in new stuff. And during our self-care segments, and we may dance, we may do squats, we may just go outside and be in nature, do a bio break, have a little snack. But the break times are for you, but I also provide some structure that make it fun to do together. You know, we laugh a lot too, because, you know, working can be heavy. So we want to lighten things up. It's like you know, where else can you take effective, efficient productivity and self-care and have them all happen in the same 90-minute period, or 2-hour period, or 4-hour period.
Well, and I like you brought up something really important. I think is valid to point this out, as you talked about, like during that 10-minute break, you're bringing them activities of things, of options of things that they can do as well. Because I know, like for me, if I'm on a roll and I don't want to stop, I'll get myself to not stop sometimes. And there's times where that's useful because I can finish up the thought and be done. But I am one of those people that'll just get sucked in and just keep working without stopping. And the next thing I know, I'm like, oh, my stomach hurts for some reason. Oh, it's eating itself because I haven't eaten in 15 hours, you know? We got to be careful.
I'm guilty of those things as well. And that's one reason why I needed them as well. Not just to start, not just to finish, but also to.
Yeah, no, I love it. Awesome. Okay, so we are time to start wrapping things up here. I got 2 questions at the end, but before we get to the 2, is there anything else that you think that we need to share with people before we wrap everything up here?
Gosh, I think that those were the pieces I wanted to bring in, that we do make it fun. Yeah. And I remember. So we're talking about writing and about doing work stuff. I've had mompreneurs take naps. They say, I have this is time scheduled, you know, it's on my calendar, it's scheduled. for me and, for work or whatever. But what I need for that 20 minutes is a nap. And there's nothing like a 20-minute nap to totally recharge you. And then if you're really tired, you can take the 10 minutes on either side and get a good 40-minute nap.
Right.
So that clearing clutter is, one of those things that can be really challenging to get done. Okay. So when you get 20 minutes, you can leave the computer on, turn your video off. You'll be listening, because I do play music that is was designed for the book that I'm writing, for the chakras in the book that I'm writing, but discovered that it actually really helps you tap in deeper.
Nice.
And stay focused. So, there's that playing, and you can get through your clutter so much faster.
Yeah.
And, you've got that same accountability. People have made sales calls during the 20 minutes, and sometimes if they're in a call, they just, they continue through. Some people do work through the breaks. Right. I've been guilty of that. And I usually pay for it. Right. So, but yeah,
I mean, there are exceptions where it's okay to get away with it, but that is the exception, not the norm. Definitely.
Yes. Sometimes when I'm doing a VIP one-on-one, something will have come up during the work segment, and the client wants to talk about it, and it takes longer than the 10 minutes. And I allow that spaciousness as well, because we don't want to stop a process that's in the middle of processing.
Yeah. No, I totally understand that. Awesome. Yeah. Well, we are about out of time here. So we got our final two questions. I already alluded to that. The last one is the easy one. How do people get a hold of you? But before that, this is the Meet Cool People show. And I always like to ask every one of my guests the same question. What do the words Meet Cool People mean to you?
People that light me up. Having the opportunity, and I mean, most of the cool people that I meet are through dance, on a dance floor, out in nature dancing. But I've also met some of the coolest people through connections with other people that I know that have heartfelt conversations. So meeting cool people means that I'm having conversations that are deep and meaningful, and you want to spend more time with them instead of talk surface stuff and talking about things that really matter, rather than the news or what's going on in social, but what's happening in your life and in the bigger picture as souls expressed through bodies. So meet cool people means that I get to express myself, be myself, and allow there to be space for other people to be themselves, because that's one of my purposes, is to give people permission to be themselves. And I get to be myself when I meet cool people.
I love it. Awesome, awesome stuff. And you're definitely cool people.
You too.
All right. So last question. Again, this is the easy one. How do people get a hold of you?
So I have this really cool mini course that I created with your help. In fact, I've studied many, many things, and this is the first time working with you that I've ever gotten something like this completed. So this mini course is 7 reasons why you have trouble working alone, and instead do it with fun. Get it done with fun. And it does give you the 7 reasons why you might have trouble working alone. There are more. There were more that I resonated with, so I added them to that. But it's really easy to find. It's getitdonelabs, plural.com/7, the letter.
Number 7.
The number 7. Yeah, the number 7. 7 reasons. So, and I know that you'll have that in your show notes as well.
Yes, we'll definitely add it to the show notes. So one more time, go ahead and say the link one more time.
The link is getitdonelabs, plural.com/7, the number 7 reasons.
Awesome. And because you and I have worked together on this, I can actually say, I know what's in this thing. I have read it, and it is really powerful. It's great stuff. And I want to thank you, and also kind of push back on the credit side of this. you said something about this the first time you got something like this completed and done, with, since with working with us and everything. I love it. Thank you so much for that. But here's also another thing with that. I want to take credit for that, for the fact that I helped give you the framework to get that done. But I do know you were struggling with it up until the point when you relaunched your Get It Done Labs, and then you actually got it done, and you've been killing it. You're keeping me busy since then. So I'm doing a little plug for the Get It Done Labs, because I know from working with you personally, you have gotten more done in the last several months than you did for quite a while. And you're just, every week you got stuff for us to go through, and it is awesome. I love it. But this is a testament to the success you get with these labs. And so I want to acknowledge you for that. So you see that, and I want everybody else to hear this as well, because it's not just a plug, because it's not designed as a plug, but it is hey, yeah, this stuff works. Okay. So this is awesome. I'm very proud of you. I'm very happy to have you as a client and as a friend. And this has been a lot of fun today.
Yes, it has. Thank you, Eli.
Awesome. All right. So everybody else, get out there, have an amazing, amazing day, week, all that kind of fun stuff. If there's anything I can do to help you out, reach out, let me know. Take care. And that wraps up another Meet Cool People show. Now, if you like what you heard, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, or review so I can help introduce these amazing cool people to even more amazing cool people. And just remember, meeting cool people is just the beginning. You need to have a system in place to follow up with the amazing people that you meet. This is exactly what we do for our clients. If you'd like to see if my team and I can help you, go to followuprockstar.com and check out the case study video to see exactly how we're helping our clients turn casual connections into cash clients for life. Again, go to followuprockstar.com and we'll see how we can work together to turn you into a follow-up rockstar.